about to start. I'll change this song soon. Good water. There we go. Appreciate that Nada 86, 100 SCK. Salute. Thank you, Nada 86, for joining the Patreon, by the way. And y'all gonna want to join the Patreon because we're gonna get into the movie review, but quick house cleaning, just let y'all know there's a lot of things going on this channel over the next week. And on Patreon, we're gonna at some point this week get to an interview with Dr. Reggie Short, exclusively on Patreon. The way they whacked my channel out the last time Dr. Short was on, it's just that YouTube is just a no-fly zone. It's just a no-fly zone for Dr. Short because it's just the way YouTube reacts when my channel has him on. So there's going to be a Dr. Short interview coming up on Patreon. Also, first look, we're going to be talking to Lord Jamar later on this week. And then also on Sunday, we have the great scholar, Dr. Logan Westbrooks. It's going to be a first look exclusive on Patreon that's going to be edited for YouTube because I'm going to be asking him a lot of questions that has to deal with. Dr. Logan Westbrooks is literally the man who wrote the book on how the black music industry was torn apart. He was the first black record executive at Capitol Records in 1967. So think about how much game he has. He was around before they started tearing our music apart. He wrote the book that really put me up on game, the Harvard Report. He's the author. So we're going to have a good conversation about the destruction of music. So it's a lot going on over on Patreon. Y'all know I am a Patreon. I might go a couple weeks without doing an interview, but when I do them, it's going to be nice. It's going to be a lot going on. So I want to start off by saying that. And also, again, thank y'all for joining. Thank y'all for joining. So we're going to get started on the movie review at the 10-minute mark, okay? I'm just going to let a few more people come in here. So right now we have 5 minutes and 34 seconds. When we get to the 10-minute mark, we're going to start the review of the movie Sinners, all right? I'll just have some other news before we get there. Donald Trump put up today saying that English must be the mandatory, all truck drivers are going to have to take an English proficiency test, which I like. Now they need to expand that shit to Uber drivers and customer service phone lines, and we'll be all good. We'll be all right. We'll be all good. Also, in what's going on with Shador on Patreon at some point this week, either here on Patreon, I'm not sure yet. We're going to do a breakdown on Shador on the numbers, and I'm gonna see if I can call some people that are really deeper in numerology than I am on the whole Shador Sanders situation. But I do got to say, Chris Carter, you a whole ass nigga for coming out today and talking bad about the whole Shador Sanders situation. That wasn't cool. But if you notice and you see with this Shador situation, the old niggas, the old black men, are the main ones that are out here kowtowing and saying he shouldn't have did that. We could expect it. Just understand this, young folks, young brothers. We got your back. Every old nigga ain't on that BS, all right? So with that being said, let's get into the Sinners movie review. Sinners. I'm going to start off by saying, again, welcome chat room. Thank y'all for joining. Thank y'all for joining. Thank y'all for joining. So let's get into it. Sinners was. I'm glad y'all told me to watch it. I was gonna watch it anyway, but yeah, and I'm writing a book. I'm doing my documentary. I'm doing a lot right now, so I'm very busy. I'm very, 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 very busy. So I don't really get to get out sometimes, and as quickly as I want to make moves. But I'm glad I watched it because overall it was a great movie on a surface level. Y'all know it was shot great script, great acting. The only thing I would say on the surface level was the dude. I didn't do any research on anybody's backgrounds, but the brother who played the lead, drawing a blank. I don't know his real name. The person I didn't know in the movie who basically he played Buddy Guy. If there was a weak link in the movie, it was him. His music sounded good, but it didn't feel good as far as the blues went. It sounded great. He sounded great, but the blues feel. I think they could have gone with maybe having Kingfish. I wanted Kingfish in that role, but maybe they didn't want nobody that's 400 pounds, and I get it. Us fat folks ain't welcome everywhere. I understand. We break seats, but at least having Kingfish play the song parts and have that brother act over top. And I would have. It wasn't the grit that I liked. It didn't have the. It didn't have the. He didn't have. He had the sound, but he didn't have a. He didn't have that grit. He didn't have that. He didn't have that. How can I say this? That good old nigga feel. He didn't have that. But that's the movie and script was so good, it went beyond him not having that. I will say at the end, when I saw Buddy Guy appear on camera, I'm not gonna lie. When I saw Buddy Guy appear on camera, I low-key shed a tear. I'm not gonna lie. I did. It was like, I appreciate Ryan Coogler so much because you know me, I'm all about. I love history. I love history, and I love honoring the legends. And so to see Buddy Guy get honored like that, and he's I think 90. His birthday just recent. I think he's like 90 or something like that, or close to it. To see him be honored in such a major movie, I think that to me, like, that was, true excellence. It shows you how we truly are. I love when ages, when generations in Black America connect, because Buddy Guy is somebody who connects. He connect. This is a show I went to. Let me take that down. That's from yesterday, and we're gonna get deeper into it. Oh, and also I'm gonna do a part 2 of this review on Patreon. Because I'm going to go back and watch Sinners. And I'm going to do a part 2 on Patreon also next week. So get ready for that. When I go back and watch, I might watch it 2 more times. I'm going to watch it 2 more times. I want to go to a theater one day where I'm like one of the only ones in there. And have a notepad and stuff and have my phone so I can take some notes to some of the stuff. So that deeper one, though, that's going to be on Patreon. But it's good because for those of you who know who I was talking about when I said Kingfish, this was a show I was at the Hollywood Bowl last year. This is Kingfish. This is the show I was at the Hollywood Bowl. Look at that young brother. See why I said I wanted Kingfish to play that role? You see why? And then the cool part about it was Buddy has him on tour with him. This is Buddy Guy right here. This is Buddy Guy. Look at him playing with one hand. Go ahead, brother.
Talk to it.
it was just dope. It was just dope seeing Ryan Coogler make that connection and basically tell a backstory to such a living legend. So that right there made me feel real good that Ryan Coogler paid, because when the gods come to town, I got to go. They're not gonna be here forever. So that's one part I want to mention. So now let's get into what different things that I saw that I want to break down that happened within the movie. First off, you have a story of twins. And this one thing we gotta understand. We live in a world of duality. And all of us, every human being, has a dual nature. All of us. We have a higher nature and we have a lower nature. All of us. Every single one of us. When they talk about the choice between good and bad, the devil and God, both are you. And Coogler illustrates this by having Michael B. Jordan play twins. Most twin roles suck, but this motherfucker did it. He did it. And so what you have here is, what I noticed right away was the red and the blue. Red hat, blue hat. Red is lower base chakra. Blue is the higher mind chakra. People can get into all this and say, well, people like me, I don't get into that mysticism and spirituality. That's the devil. Well, nigga, you're watching the devil every time you turn on the TV. Because these symbols, your subconscious understands these symbols, whether your conscious brain understands them or not. So red is dealing with root chakra, carnal nature, and you saw that's dealing with earthly desires, is dealing with security, ground, the physical. And so the brother that was the fool was in the red hat. Remember when the movie, when it first started, he said, "Hey, watch my brother. He don't pay attention to what's going on behind him." When he had a boy saying, "Watch his back," they're telling you that's the root chakra gets too caught up in the spoil of the land, in women, in base level desires. That's what the root chakra is about. It's about balancing that. When you're dealing with the blue chakra, that's the throat chakra. That's dealing with the ethers. The throat chakra is expression. Remember, the brother with the blue hat was the salesman. He was the businessman. He was the one that had everything in order. He's the one that knew what to say. He was the blue hat was the one that everybody knew to call when it was an issue. Blue represents honesty and integrity. It also represents protection. That's why police are known as, that's why the police officers wear blue. Or even if your local police were like here in LA, the LA County Sheriff is brown and whatever. But they're still, the police are widely known as the boys in blue. Blue, the blue means protection. And if you're talking about having spiritual protection, blue light is the light of spiritual protection. When you want to protect yourself, when you want to, what they say in the church, call on your angels. If you're in the metaphysical world, you're going to put yourself in blue light. That's a lot of protection. So as you see, the brother wearing the blue was all about protection, expression, using his throat. So it's no coincidence as to why they use red and blue. You dig what I'm saying? And so let's get to. What I'm doing is I'm pulling up pictures too as I talk because I don't really have I don't really have notes. I'm sort of just going. So it's going to jump around. All right, I'm not going in chronological order of the movie because I don't have any goddamn notes, and y'all should be goddamn patient enough to follow along with me. You did. So you get to that scene where everyone was talking about the music scene, right? Everyone saying, Dwann, you gotta watch it. That music scene was this, the music scene was that. Um, let me get the other picture up. Uh, Here it is. And so let's go to the music scene. In the music scene, they did, and on Patreon, we're gonna go deeper on this music scene. I'm gonna touch on it here on YouTube. Patreon, I'm gonna go deeper because I'm actually gonna play music, something that YouTube does not allow me to do. So we're gonna play music over on Patreon. But you saw there was a scene to where everyone was they showed, everyone was dancing in order. They were doing a ring shout, dancing in a circle, doing a ring shout, and then during the ring shout you saw uh Dogon, the Dogon dancers in Africa and out of Mali. You saw other tribal dancers. I got to go back and actually see the video again to identify which tribes was what. I do remember seeing the Dogon off the top of my head. And then it went into, in this scene, it went, and then the cut screens into them doing the same type dances on the plantation. And then it cut to scratching and hip hop. And basically, what Coogler did was show the common bond and the evolution of Black American music. That's what he did. And he did a great job of illustrating that too. He did a great job. And a lot of people were angry that the African part was included. Let me touch on that part. The reason the African part was included, we got to remember, that is the common thing that they tell us, that Africa, all of our music comes from Africa. And you know how this country works. They tell you a piece of the truth and present that piece of a truth as the whole truth. Yes, Africa does most definitely have some input in Black American music. It just does not have the amount that they make it to have. But you got to understand this is still Hollywood, and I'm sure Mr. Coogler, one, I'm pretty sure he believes that because if you read all the book, he said he read Blues People by Ali. I saw in one of the interviews. Oh, I still got this. I thought y'all could see me. Hold on. I saw in one of the interviews. He said that let me see here, that he read this book. This was one of the books that he read in the movie. And in this book, Ali Leroy most definitely talks about the African connection because there is an semblance of an African connection. And oftentimes, if you want your stuff printed and put out, oftentimes, all the time, especially back then, if you want your stuff published, you basically, if you're going to talk about anything Black American, you have to tie in Africa. So if you read these type books on face value, this is a great book. I recommend it, by the way. If you read it at face value, you're always going to believe basically it all came just from Africa because America is very, very, very hell bent on not showing Black Americans our connections to this land. We got to understand that. So if that slither of truth has to come into the movie for the rest of the movie to be done so we can get those messages, I'm with it. I'm with it. Hey, whatever. We should be able, we know what it is. You know, And there is some truth because there is some African influence, but the issue is they don't ever talk about the Black American and the native influence also. But Coogler, he snuck it in. He snuck in. I ain't got my music playing. Hold on. I gotta get my. Gotta get my music playing. Hold on. There we go. He snuck in a truth. He snuck in a fact. If you saw this scene, you saw them doing the ring shout, and the ring shout is what we get this beat from. That's the ring shout beat. In Africa, is they do quarter notes in Africa. It's on a 1 and a 3. The Black American ring shout is 1, 2, 3. That's the ring shout beat. But the movie gave us a little bit of a hint right here. Let me pull that picture up right here. You saw how they were dancing in the fire, and you see this native style dress right here, and a whole bunch of dark-skinned folks. This is the Indian fire dance. This fire dance was very, very, very popular with those swarthy-skinned East Coast tribes. So in this scene, he's showing you, without showing you, the native version of this. They're both native. Yes, there's African connection, and he explicitly showed you Africa, but he implicitly showed you your Black American indigenous roots here in America with the fire dance. Okay? So you got to understand that every message isn't going to be explicit. Some messages you just got to catch. And he did a great job with those messages you got to catch. But I'm going to go deeper into that music stuff when I do my Patreon breakdown. Because over there, I'm actually play some music. So so far in the movie, we're dealing with, remember, red and blue, base and mind. That's why twins was the best thing he can do. That was the best decision he could make by making them twins. You know? Different personalities representing different ways, different modalities of thought. All right? Let's get deeper into it. But before we go deeper into it, this coming Friday and Saturday, we're having a reproductive health event for dealing with reproductive health in Compton, Friday and Saturday. On Saturday, I'm gonna be telling a few jokes there. I'm gonna be telling some jokes around noon, 1, sometime around there. Come down to the event because it's going to be vendors, and also there are going to be people there talking about what they couldn't talk about, you dig, on the internet. Some stuff you got to get to in person. So Rizza has a free event dealing with what's going on with women's parts and reproduction, some of the stuff. So I want to have you please come down if you're in Southern California this coming Saturday and this coming Friday. Both links are in the description. And also get your intellectual power, intellectualpower.net. Type in the product code DBrown for 10% off. Also, peace pads, Both of those links are at the top of the chat. Make sure y'all hit that up. You dig? So that's where we at with it. That's where we at with it. So let's go a little bit further into the movie. There was a part when them white boys. Let's get into what these white folks represented. Let's get into what they represented. All right, let me pull these pictures up. I told you I'm doing this live. I'm doing this like all at once. So I'm kind of pulling these pictures and everything and talking. Let me see. Center movie. Let me see here. Centers movie. Here we go. Hold on. So let's get to the zombies and the zombie action and what they represent. Man, I can't find it. Whatever. I'll just use this picture. Whatever. So the zombies. Remember when that scene when the zombies first came up? They went to the woman in the house, that one zombie, and the zombie's looking all, he bleeding, his skin is fucked up. And he comes to the door, and he has these 2 gold shekels, and he's saying that some Indians are out there to kill him, and please let me in. That was a message to white America. That right there will show you how, in some ways, how white supremacy is passed around, how it works. They don't necessarily like each other. They don't necessarily get along. But when he was able to play one against the other, he was able to play him against the Indians. And when he played him against the Indians, he had 2 gold shekels. And though that shows you right there that all it takes, and he was looking real fucked. I can't find a picture of how he was looking. This was after. I can't find the picture of how he was looking before, but I don't want to get off the point. He was coming in looking, oh, here it is. Here's one. As soon as I said that, I found it. Look how he looking. All fucked up, broken down and dilapidated. Would you let somebody like this in your house? I don't give a fuck what kind of story you got. This lizard looking motherfucker ain't getting in my goddamn house. But nothing about this seemed right. She felt it. But after he played the Indians against him, all he had to do was offer her 2 gold shekels. And she let him in. Then when the Indian came by to say, hey, did you get a runaway white boy? She basically went at the Indian and told him no. And when the Indian is there to help her out, the Indian is there to save her life, she kicks him away for a couple gold shekels and her inherent fear of the Indian that allowed her to not listen to what the Indian had to say. And when she's done pushing the Indian off, this is where she walks in and sees her husband has been eaten alive by the same zombie she just let in. There was a theme in this movie. If you notice, all of the zombies had to ask first to be let in. That shows you how spirit works and how negative a lot of problems in your life. A lot of problems in our lives we invite in. Something in us saying, nah, don't do this. This ain't the way to go. But you fuck around with that ratchet knowing good in the hell well you didn't have a chance. Now you mad that she pregnant. You go ahead and you go on that to that event that you knew you shouldn't have been at, then the shit gets shot up. How many times in your life can you trace back some very negative shit back to a decision to allow something in? Sometimes that bad decision kicks you in the ass right away. Sometimes that bad decision kicks you in the ass 10 years later. But guess what? The bad decisions is going to kick you in your monkey ass. But oftentimes, we invite this stuff in. So this was telling you a lot of that evil shit that we be talking about and scared of, outside of an anomaly here and there, you invite it in a lot of ways. The vampires, you invite vampires in your life oftentimes. Not every time. Not every time. But you invite them in. Vampires, zombies, motherfucker, y'all know the difference. Back to the story, but thank you. So, when it comes down to it, it's certain people that you know that you be like, yeah, nah, something about this person ain't right. And how many times do people take money, and it just takes a little bit of money, 2 shekels. It takes 2 shekels for people to make decisions that they know ain't right. How often do you see that? Even in the music industry. You know you know that shit is full of them vampires. You know they're like sucking people dry. And I'm not talking about the teenagers that didn't know better. How many goddamn adults be like, shit, I just want to go ahead and get this song off? You know better. You got to let them in. Most of the time. And then it went here. This story right here. This theme right here. The mulatto chick. This was talking about, in a lot of ways, how a lot of our shit got sold out. And this is very true, especially in the 1800s. In the 1800s, America allowed the mulatto, the Melungeon, the octoroon class greater benefits than the darker skinned Negroes. That's why the universities like Howard University was open. Did you know that? Howard University and Fisk University in particular. Both of those schools are open because the slave owners that halfway acknowledged they mulatto and octoroon kids and grandchildren, they needed an institution of learning. They didn't want to send them niggas to Harvard. You can't go to Harvard, you can't go to Princeton. But I also don't want you with them dark Morris Chestnut, Shannon Sharp looking niggas at Tuskegee either. So let's create Fisk University. Let's create Howard University, Kamala Harris. And it's not talking shit about the people who went to those schools. It's a lot of fine people that went to those schools. But basically, those schools were created to be coon factories. Not about how you feel. And I'm not saying everybody that went to those schools is a coon. Now, there's some writers that went to them schools. Dr. Welsing went to Howard. But you saw how they treated Dr. Welsing after she wrote the ISIS papers, didn't you? And when Dr. Welsing got to talking about race, oh, all of a sudden now she got to rent a room to teach her shit. You can't hire her and give her tenure. So universities like Fisk and Howard were created for women like her. The racially confused. And then later on, the people who knew that they were black, but they feel, I'm at Howard, so I'm better than the rest of those Negroes. These are just facts. Again, not saying everybody that went to Howard, Fisk, and those type universities are like that. Okay? But we got to talk turkey, because why these universities were created ain't got nothing to do with your ass. They didn't give a fuck about you, didn't know who you was going to be 200 years later, back when they created these schools, 150, 160 years ago. This show was done before you were born. So if you went to one of those schools, or your parents or somebody you know went to one of those schools, you shouldn't be offended. Unless you one of them coon niggas I'm talking about. Anyway, so when the zombies were outside, remember they came in, the zombies, and they were playing the music, and they sounded pretty good, you know, for what they did, but it sounded very white. It was like a white version. They'll show you the white version of what we do. And then when it came to the door of the bar, they were like, yeah, we like your music. They're like, why y'all want to listen to us? They're like, oh, we like your music. We just don't like who's singing it. That was a bar that Ryan Coogler wrote in right there. We like your music. We just don't like who's singing it. And that's what a lot of you niggas, especially in the entertainment industry, don't fucking understand. You saw a couple years ago that hip hop 50 celebration. Man, hip hop bring everybody together, man. It ain't gonna be no racism at a hip hop party. And you got racist motherfuckers like Crazy Legs saying that bullshit. Yeah, because everybody likes good. But as you saw in this movie, it was the same story 120 years ago. Whether we was doing blues, a hold down, a showdown, a roll down, a low down, whatever the fuck we doing, they like to crash the party. But you still got to invite them in. Still got to let them in. So they didn't let them in initially. But what does the mulatto do? And don't come at me, I got a lot of mulatto in my family, all right? Especially in Natchez, Mississippi. My family is full of mulatto slaves in the 1850s, 1840s. I go look on Ancestry at some of my cousins. They white. For real, like white. Like you can't tell that these motherfuckers, well, they white dad had different moms than my black mom that they white dad was whoopty-whamming with. But I got mulatto slaves all through my family. Natchez, Mississippi. Okay? So, again, I can speak on my lineage. This talked about, and on top of that, you can see, I got mulatto on multiple sides. Hell, some of my mulatto family were some of your first senators and politicians, black, in American history. Illinois, 1923. My great-great-granduncle, Adelbert Roberts. So, I'm not here to talk about what I don't know. I can talk about my family. Now that I've given that disclaimer, this shows the people who shouldn't make decisions for us as a group. It was the mulatto that went out there and said, maybe I can talk to my people and see if they in it for the money. See, the brother with the blue cap was thinking with his head on straight. It's not necessarily, it's not necessarily about that. It's about protecting the safety of this environment. But then he made the mistake. Of when the money was looking tight. Again, it kept centering around money. People kept making these bad decisions based on money. Money is what allowed the vampires in the house. Money is the reason why old girl listed him when she went out there. Money is the reason why they even asked her to go out there. Money, money, money being the centerpiece around everybody's bad decision. Pay attention to that. My father used to always tell me, like my dad still tells me to this day, all money ain't good money. That's an old nigga saying. And if you got a black dad, uncle, auntie, I'm sure you've heard that too. Landon, appreciate the super chat. Says zombies, followers, and vampires, energy feeders, and werewolves, psychopaths. Yeah. Appreciate that super chat. So it's showing you everybody's bad decision was made when the money's tight. See, and it shows the white people made bad decisions with the money, and the black folks, and the mulattoes. Everybody, no matter what their racial classification. That is a true story of humanity. When people don't have resources, people make bad decisions when they have limited resources. When your resources are on point, it's going to take a lot more. And people still make bad decisions with bigger money online, but you can't get bought off so cheap. Everyone that got bought off cheap. And then they send the mulatto out there to talk to her other side of the family. And when she goes out there to talk to her other side of the family, she sees those shekels. She sees the money is real. And then what happens? They bite her too. They bite her too. And so she comes back inside, and she comes in and she sees lower nature brother Red Hat. We're handling business right now. This is a lot going on. This isn't the time for you as a business owner to be fondling with the ladies. Just not now. Maybe later on, but not now. Lower nature, Red Hat, thinking with the lower hat, you dig? And all else, Red Hat, carnal decision. And that carnal decision in the Red Hat is what got him into a situation to where he did that. Yeah, Stick tried to get rid of her. Yeah, we got how many people in here? 430 somebody in here, and only 200 likes? What's y'all problem? Come on, man. Y'all can't give me the 300? Now, if you're driving, don't reach down and hit the thumbs up if you're driving. I get it. Man, but if you're sitting down on your headphones or on your computer, hit the like button, please. Thank you. And make sure you leave a comment after the video if you don't get to watch the whole video all the way through. So you see that. But what they're telling you is not. I'm not tripping on mulattoes. I'm not saying anything bad about mulattoes. What I'm saying is Black Americans, we cannot, because of the history that we have on this country, they can't be the ones making the decisions for the whole of us. That's what this was pointing out. The dual allegiance. Which side of your family are you going to be aligned to? See, she just had enough empathy, and there's nothing wrong with it. If it's your family, if these are the people that we have the closest bond to, you're naturally going to have a higher level of empathy towards them. No matter how wrong they did you. No matter how wrong they did you. It's still blood. Blood is blood. Not talking about these people as bad people, but in American history, when we look at the people with dual allegiances, looking back from J. Edgar Hoover to people like, what's his name? Even Hiram Revels, they said, back in the 1870s. When you're dealing with the people with the dual allegiances, when the pressure comes, they got a tough decision to make that the rest of us that don't have dual allegiances don't have to deal with. So I want y'all to see that part, pick that part up. Again, nothing wrong with these people, but we talk about the history of this country. How America has used and educated the people with dual allegiances, and we see it playing out now where people have dual allegiances to America. And then, like when you saw the Asian woman, when she lost her composure and allowed them inside, each time the vampires got inside, they were allowed in. And then you get to the end part of the movie. And again, I'm going to watch it again, and we're going to go even deeper spiritually and also with the music on Patreon. Make sure y'all sign up for Patreon right now. Go to the live interview lounge if you want to see the interviews live and be a part of the live discussion. Go to the other levels, the lower level, if you just want to see the later ones. We're gonna have an interview with Lord Jamar coming up this week, Dr. Logan Westbrooks, and also Dr. Randy Short, all in the next week, 10 days. We're gonna have all those people. All right, so make sure you sign up. But the Patreon version of this is gonna go much. I'm sort of skimming over the top right now. I'm not going as deep as I'm going to go on Patreon. Plus, on Patreon, I'm gonna say some things that I don't want in the YouTube algorithm. So that next one that we're gonna have up on Patreon, that's gonna be exclusively. I'm not gonna do a double upload. That's gonna stay over there. I'm gonna go far deeper. Let's see here. You said love the movie. You think I'm gonna go see it again too, Victor Villain? Yeah, gotta see it again. Yeah, the music piece was deep. But I want to go back to the music piece. Oh, no, let's go to the ending before I go back to the music piece. No, I'm going to the music piece first. No, I'm going to ending. I want to keep going where I was going. I like how the movie ended because you saw how it ended when he had a chance to take the money. Because first off, they knew that them white boys had a trick up their sleeve. They always got a trick up their sleeve. So when he came back, he was ready for him, picked him off, got shot. I saw it was an exit wound, so I was hoping he'd live. But you saw how at the end he said, hold on. I got money. What did he do? Sprayed and killed his ass. So glad I got to see that at the end of a black movie. Because So many of our movies that don't allow us that satisfaction. Something like that. And not that I'm violent, but hell, it's a movie. Hell, your heroes get to kill every goddamn body and walk off into the sunset. Why can't ours? That was the main issue with Dead President. I love that movie, Dead Presidents. But why everybody gotta die and nobody get the money? That shit pissed me off. Dead Presidents was a perfect movie up until everybody died at the end. Nah, why we gotta die? Nigga, why couldn't we do like John Wick and end up on an island somewhere in the Mediterranean? I don't like that. So that part right there was very satisfying. Seeing them spray that motherfucker. But let's go back to the music scene. It's very deep as far as like that evolution of sound. And again, if you read books like Leroy Jones, I said Leroy Glover earlier, Leroy Jones. If you read Blues People, you'll get a very good understanding of that evolution. And all these books, it talks about how you get. All these books talk about, well, this book was written in the '60s. That's why this book so much, because it was actually written in the '60s when this like before hip hop was a thing. This shit was actually written before funk came out. And like when you read the books like On These Shores and stuff like that, they're always going to talk about Africa. Understand this. There's most definitely a common bond. And this is where they mess it up when they say, okay, this came from Africa, that came from Africa, with absolutely no proof it came from that. This is what they do. They'll see somebody in Africa doing something similar to what we're doing, because at the end of the day, we're all human. African, Australian, Chinese, we're all human. So there are going to be shared things that humans do that sometimes rhyme. Lime and rhyme are two different words, but they sound the same, right? Mean two different things. No different than life. In life, in different parts of the planet, people are going to do things that rhyme. It doesn't mean that one came from the other. It just means that this is a common bond. But when you listen to the music, and this is gonna go way deeper on Patreon. On Patreon, I'm actually gonna play the music. When you listen to the music, although the rhythms are close, one didn't give it to the other, and the other didn't give it to the other. Because music comes from the spirit. I mean, this is a very spiritual movie. Music, like they were saying earlier in the movie, the music flows through the ancestors, through our spirit. And my spirit and your spirit sometimes get a similar download. And since we as Black Americans and Black people of the earth, the people who are here on the planet first, we're going to do things that are a lot alike. But it doesn't mean it came from it, especially if there's a multi-year disconnect and there's an absence of studying what was already here. But that's why I appreciate that ring shout and that fire dance scene so much. Because they're basically showing you that the fire dance and the ring shout are basically the same thing. Same thing like with our music, like, for instance, something like disco. Barry White released Love's Theme in 1973, the same year Gamble and Huff released the Sound of Philadelphia. The two first disco songs came out the same year on different coasts. Sometimes spirit has similar downloads. And on top of that, let's go even deeper when it comes to the black. And that's why I appreciate Ryan Coogler so much for basically focusing on the Black American experience here. According to anthropology, it takes, they consider someone native to a land that's been there at least 150 years, 10 generations, 10 to 12 generations, 150 years. That's what gets people to identify as native in a new land, because it takes about that long to really rid the customs. It takes about that many generations to really cleanse yourself of the customs of where you come from to where you are. Most of that shit happens in one generation, but it takes time to clean the rest of that stuff out. And so, according to, I'm gonna go with white folks anthropology, because everybody like white and white folk, cold and white folks so much. Native to a land is people who've been on the land for more than 150 years. Well, what if you've been on the land for more than 400? And the people that because I still personally haven't seen anybody shipped on no slave ship to my family tree. Not saying it doesn't exist, because it may exist in yours, or it may exist in a part of my family tree I haven't gotten to yet. I'm not saying it hasn't. But it came here, and the people who are here, if they marry somebody who's native and indigenous and have children, and your great 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 granddaddy / grandmother is indigenous, is the child of an indigenous mother, what are you? It's funny how all the rules change when it comes to us. Everybody else gets to be from a land after 100, 150 years. We be somewhere 300, 400 years, are we still Africans? But I want to make that point because that was a point that sort of pissed a lot of people off about the movie. Don't get pissed off. We do share a common bond with Africa. We definitely do. And there are certain things that we do that are a lot similar. But Africa is a great continent that created its own rhyme, its own rhythm, and its own thing. And let's have appreciation for what people create on the land in which they stand. That's my only point of view on that. Let's love and appreciate those who create things from the land in which it stands. Appreciate that, Blue Exodus. Said this has got to be the best channel for anthropology and music history. Appreciate that, brother. But call in. I want to know what y'all think. 323-744-7425. I don't want to go too much deeper because on Patreon, we're going to go on another level. We're going to play some music. We're going to really take a deeper dive into what I'm talking about from a point of view and a perspective that I don't necessarily feel comfortable putting up on YouTube. Because YouTube be out there bumping and bamping, whooping and whamping. And I ain't trying to get caught up in that bullshit, you dig? And let me know how my mic sound. My shit was choppy the other day. So I went ahead and bought a new mic cord. My mic good? I'm not stuttering and I was stumbling and... But yeah, we gotta, yeah, let's see, it says, this says system audio is not capturing. But we'll find out if somebody calls, if it's captured or not. Oh no, I'll show, my bad, y'all. I was telling y'all to call in, and the app is still opening. All right, cool. Appreciate that last name first. Appreciate the super chat. All right, it's open now. 323-744-7425. What do y'all think? What are some of your takeaways? And why, as we as a people, why is it that they always gotta show us with Africa, and that's cool. But why don't they ever, ever, never, ever show Europeans, white people, Europe? They don't connect white people to feudalism, do they? Do they ever, whenever white people do something great and show a cultural lineage connection to Windsor and to only time that, and do they ever do that? Do they ever talk about? Do they ever send these people back to the times of the Visigoths? Do they ever send them back to the times of the Vandals? Because we can easily draw a clear line between them over here flipping up stuff after their favorite college football team wins a national championship. We can draw a clear line from the way they destroy buildings and cars and football fields and baseball fields to the Vandals and the roaming tribes of Europe. Why don't they ever do that? When they do something great here, it gets to stay here. But when we do something great here, it got to go back to a time that we don't remember. That's just a question. What's up, Carter? What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, DWANNB is Victor Villain out of Ohio.
Victor Villain, what's your name, my brother?
So to answer your question, I did enjoy the movie, but to answer your question thoroughly, they otherize us. It has more so to do with, as far as the establishment is concerned, that's establishment across all 9 areas of activity. They otherize us just to make sure like the legacy is just not there for the generations that come after. So every time somebody picks up the mantle and, attempts to do something, oh, nobody's done this before me. Okay, this is why we keep hearing the first black person to do this, first black person to do that. And it's usually somebody that, they thoroughly vetted for the last 20, 30 years. But also when they have their celebrations, they're burning couches at the Ohio State Michigan game or tearing, or tearing down lights in Philadelphia after the Super Bowl, or the Manchester United versus Binghamton or whatever. They throwing beer and walking around butt naked. But as soon as we got a step show at one of the HBCUs that might shut down traffic for a little bit, they ready to raise all hell. So I mean, it's cool when they do it. It's a problem when I do it.
Yep.
That's the whole thing.
And if they so happen to talk about step shows positively, they're going to talk about the Africanness of it, not the genes of the brothers who created the damn dance in school.
Right. Exactly. I mean, it and they don't even, when they talk about the Africanness, Africa had nothing to do with the brothers that actually invented the shimmy shaking out the train tracks.
Yeah. Because they had no goddamn train tracks.
Correct. It's just laughing, but
it's like, I'm glad you brought that point about the train tracks, because not only did we create those dances and those work songs, we also invented the joist that the trains that work on, the support systems. We invented the thing the clamp that brings it together. We have so many patents that involve trains. Stuff like from like what they say from Boomerang, from the Rudy to the Tootie. This is our shit.
Right.
Yeah. All right, man. Thanks for giving us a call, brother.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right, call back. Somebody's trying to call in, but I can only do one call at a time. All right. But yeah, we created a work song building a train track that we invented the key components of. And they got to be like, ooh, look at that African. Nah, man, that person was probably Iroquois until his grandparents were captured into slavery and sold down south. What's up, caller? What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's good? My name is Sumble. I'm calling from out of Harlem.
Sumble from out of Harlem. What's your name?
All right, now I'm just going to tap in and talk about the movie and stuff. First, I want to give a shout out to the boy Ryan. I don't know if you've seen the interview, but he definitely shouted out Foundation of Black Americans.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. So that's definitely that's what's up for a brother like that to be up in Hollywood and stick with that name on like a major platform is good. But I wanted to tap in about about the Asian thing, about how the Filipino, I don't know if the lady was Chinese, Filipino, whatever, but that character in that movie, the way how she was around us just to benefit off of our people, but as soon as times got rough and stuff popped off, she threw us under the bus and stuff like that. And I just that part of the movie hit so hard, bro, because it's we still doing that, we still doing that, dealing with them people with that type of situation to this day. You
Real
know what I'm
talk.
saying? So I just want to tap in on that. And how you feel about that?
With me, you saw how I thought this happened in there because even back then, when they had the Chinese here, he was showing you that even back then, they had the Asians is controlling the certain business that was going on our side of town. And it was showing also that, with these times that we're dealing with right now, the multiculturalism thing that's never worked for us. We've always been the people that have held people down. But the minute they get an opportunity, they're going to be the ones that, when it's time to flip the script, they're oftentimes, historically, not casting any aspersions, and I'm not saying anything bad about people who are out there, but historically, those are the first ones to flip the minute they get a little bit of pressure from the outside. And they invite in a fight that we have to end up taking on. We always take on other people's fights. I'm seeing it right now here in LA. The news has been like covering a strike, but they've been walking all down the freeways. It was some white folks that judge that helped usher and sneak that illegal out of the courthouse. You have people fighting her, singing hard chant, singing "No Justice, No Peace." Like, hold on, that's our shit. And I think really it was just showing that how, even when people in the house, it's all good when things are going good, but when things go bad, you got to watch out. Historically, between the mulatto and the person that's not all the way our tribe, historically, those have been the people who invite the outsiders in.
For sure. That's yeah, man. We could talk about that. Goes for like the Black Panthers and civil rights movement. Yeah, so on and so on. We could keep going with that. Even with the Nation of Islam, it's a lot of brothers and sisters stuff got infiltrated. And it's another thing I wanted to touch on. I probably have to call back because it slipped my mind. I don't want to hold up any more of your time because I know you got people trying to call in, though.
Yes, sir, man. You have a go, man. Thanks for calling.
You know that.
Mm-hmm. Call back. I had a couple people calling in when I was on that line. Oh, there you are. All right, caller. What's the name? Where you calling from?
What's up? This is Dante calling from Chicago.
Dante from Chicago. What's on your mind?
Man, listen, I just watched the movie today, right? Now, my brother told he didn't like it, right? He was like, don't go. He didn't like it, right? So I said, let me go see it. So I went to the matinee, took off work, went to the matinee. I said, I'm gonna be cheap in case I don't like it. Let me tell you something. My brother didn't catch all the layers. I'm not saying my brother's eyes ain't open, but he didn't catch all the layers. I immediately, when I seen it, I said, oh shit, I had to sit up. And especially that scene when they was flashing back, they went, they would go from, from Africa to the blues era. Then they flash forward to hip hop. I said, oh, wait a minute. There's a lot of layers to this movie. And another thing that got me was, and talking about the music piece, the head vampire, you see, he was more obsessed with the music than he was with Stone and Robert. What's their name? Not Stone and Robert. What's their name? The twins.
I forgot. I'm dyslexic.
Yeah, I'm saying Stone and Robert. I'm thinking about something Cooley High. Smoking Stack, right? So
yeah,
he was more obsessed with. He was the head vampire. He was more obsessed with the music, right? He wanted the brother that knew the voice and the singing. And then so I started, wait a minute. I said, man, Ryan is talking about several things in here. And then I started thinking about how they come and they steal the soul out of our music, because the vampires they were there to steal the souls and suck the blood. So I said, well, damn, that's what they've been doing to our music. They've been stealing the soul out of our music. So I'm paying attention to that. And I'm also paying attention to the mulatto chick, because if they couldn't get in, the mulatto chick is who went out there and kind of came back in and started infecting people.
Mm-hmm.
At first, the brothers were smart. They had, the culture was tight. They like, bro, you ain't coming in here. We don't care what kind of music you play, bro. This is us. We locking our culture down. It took the mulatto chick to go out there, come back in, and then she's the one who kicked everything off.
And
because
also,
they wasn't gonna get in.
To go on that point, we touched on that point earlier, but you made me remind me of something I forgot about.
Right.
When the brother went out there, the security guard, after he got bit, remember he was the first one come back saying, "They not that bad. What's the problem? You need to come with us. They ain't that bad." He was showing out coons. That's what happened with coon dudes. They go out there, they get a taste of what them other folks got. They be the first ones back. That scene described all them niggas on black radio, DLU, all them dudes. It described Lil Wayne. It described all the racism.
But another part that I found and I picked up at the end, kudos to them putting the great Buddy Guy in there, right? But at the end, I'm wondering if they're setting it up for part 2, and I'm wondering is part 2 going to go into hip hop, how they went into blues. You know how they showed
hip hop on that scene too. If you notice, they went into hip hop on that scene.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like dealing with, because because at the end it was.
Oh kinda, when he was wearing like the Coochie and shit.
Yeah. And then they had the the same the mulatto racially ambiguous chick and all of that. They coming in there, and so I wonder if they're gonna go in. And I had a question. And the scene when they did the guitar scene, because it was moving fast, was that Ernie Isley on that guitar? I can tell. You see the bandana. Was that Ernie?
No, that was. I'm glad you brought that up. No. That was my man Charlie Burrell. We were supposed to interview him on this.
Charlie Burrell.
That's Charlie.
That's his dad. I got it. I was just the Death Row brother with Death Row. Yeah, his album is banging.
Yeah, cool. He's one. I showed you guys his album when it first dropped on Death Row. We were supposed to interview, but Charlie done he gets busy schedule got crazy. We were supposed to do an interview. We'll interview Charlie at some point real soon, hopefully. But that was Charlie Burrell.
Okay. That's what's up, but it was a great movie, a lot of layers. And I'm gonna tell my brother, my brother, man, there's too much shit going on, man. Why is it vampires? And he kind of missed it, but I want to go see it. Matter of fact, I might go see it again this evening. But yeah, that's what's up, brother. Peace.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that scene with the brother that had the futuristic guitar with the glasses on, that was Charlie Burrell. Y'all know I've talked about his music plenty of times on this channel. Plenty of times. Produced by Joseph Leonberg, his last album. What's up, caller? What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's going on, DWANNB? I'm Al from Springfield, Missouri.
Al from Springfield, Missouri. What's on your mind?
Oh, brother, Al, nothing much. I saw the movie this past weekend, and I got to tell you, this was Brian Coogler's best movie he's made. I just love the fact that how the movie was talking about foundational Black American and the music, the blues music. It reminded me, and God rest my granddad's soul, it reminded me of my granddad. It would also remind me of my late uncle, who was a blues musician, who tragically died 21 years ago. And it to me, it kind of it had like a little bit of a quasi true story of the late Robert Johnson, who died with a rising up becoming blues musician.
It definitely had Robert Johnson tones in it. Yes.
Yeah, Robert Johnson tones in it, and how he unfortunately died at a young age when he got that spirit of the devil got into him and everything else, and then he passed away. But he laid the foundation of other music genres to be born after that, from country, bluegrass, to rhythm and blues, funk music, then hip hop, etc., and everything else. It's a shame that brother died at 27, but he's almost like the godfather of everything. That's what I wanted to say about the movie Sinners. I plan on watching it again. I'm gonna drag my parents to go watch it with me in there. We gotta watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta watch
it.
But
thank you, brother.
I appreciate that.
All right.
I'm going what he said about Robert Johnson. Yeah, I noticed Robert Johnson undertones too. And there's a Robert Johnson at the cross. It's a story about Robert Johnson. And the mythos around Robert Johnson was he was a guitarist that wasn't too good, and he went away, came back, got good, and the mythos is he sold his soul to the devil, and that's why they call it the devil's music. That's sort of a folklore that white folks said about Robert Johnson, because while Robert Johnson was alive, he never experienced the fame that he later on got. He died. People went back and found his music later. Robert Johnson's music wasn't as popular when he was alive. It was a man named P.D. Wheatstraw. He was the popular guy of that sound at the time of Robert Johnson. But they went back and found Robert Johnson, and they say the mythos and the legend around him is he sold his soul to the devil. So in some ways, this movie Sinners was at the end correcting that when he decided to come back to the church, but still go back out there and sing the music. In a lot of ways, he was correcting I like the way he kind of did that. The thing that's coming to my head right now, he sort of corrected the mythos around it. Like, the negative thing isn't leaving. And I'm gonna get right to you, caller. It's not negative. It's always saying, okay, you leave the church, you gonna go out into hell, when really the church and the blues, they have a brother-sister yin-yang relationship. The father of the blues, Thomas Dorsey, was first a blues singer for Ma Rainey's band. So they worked together, and that's been a big old mythos that a lot of our great musicians have carried, and it's a major burden that a lot of our musicians have carried, and the guilt that shouldn't be there. So I like the way he somewhat corrected that mythos around leaving the church and playing the blues. But caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Oh, what's good? My name is Jay. I'm from North Carolina.
Jay from North Carolina. What's on your mind?
Oh yeah. I seen the movie. It was great. I really enjoyed it. But I have a question. Like, what are your thoughts on the character Annie, the plus size black interest of Smoke?
Great question.
Because
go ahead. Finish what you had to say.
Oh yeah. With my point, I seen like online, a lot of like black women saying and it was like the mammy, but I didn't see no mammy attributes of Annie. She was the intelligent one, the only one to do what to do when it came to the vampires. And like when you like contrast Mary and Annie, how Annie got to live in the afterlife with Smoke, and how Mary, the white, the mulatto girl, got to be a vampire, but this is what I'm trying to get at, like comparing the two, Mary and Annie, and how some people see Annie as a man.
So I'm glad you brought that up, because I'm going to talk about her anyway. She was really the hero of the film. She was the nucleus. She was showing she wasn't Mammy. She was Big Mama, but at a younger age. We already see Big Mama when she's in her 70s. But she was showing, it was basically showing how Big Mama was in her 20s, in her 30s. Meaning she's always been that. She's the one that holds things down. They showed she's a natural black woman. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And finally got some natural black women on that camera that are from here. She was working. She was working out in the fields. Do they expect somebody to come in looking like a Halle Berry working in the fields, all made up? Did they want that? You know what I mean? So no, she was dressed. Yeah. She was dressed appropriately for what her function was in the movie. They were in a rural land. There wasn't no glamming up in that environment. You know what I mean? 2, she knew the medicine. She was the witch doctor. She was the spiritual counsel, and she was the one that when everything got going inside the bar, she held things down. She was, excuse me, she was the reason, and she was the balance to the blue, the thought. She was his balance, and so she was a bigger hero, and she gave him the keys to everlasting life instead of living in some purgatory. Because basically being a zombie, your soul is stuck like on this plane and you're miserable. she basically gave him the keys to freedom for if it does happen, you know? And so, anybody's calling her a mammy, they don't understand what a mammy is. A mammy is a plantation. Is that one? A mammy was somebody that would have been like, let's go outside and party with Massa. That would have been mammy. No, they're just saying that because they're mad and disappointed that a woman that didn't look like Zoe Saldana didn't get that part. That's all them people are mad
at. Yeah. Thanks to one. I 100% agree with you. Like the Annie character, she drew me in more than Mary. I don't see why people hyping up Mary. I was more drawn into how Annie was in the film.
Yeah, man. It's just, but but shit. Certain things like that are like that, man. But thanks for giving us a call.
All right, no problem.
Yes, sir. Let me think. Well, yeah, she was wearing blue also. Blue and white. White is the color of Christ. That's the color of, that's the angelic color. The color of all understanding is white. And blue is protection. And she was wearing white and blue all throughout the movie. What's up, caller? Can you please turn me down?
Turn down. Put on mute.
There we go. What's up, caller? What's the name? Where you calling from?
I'm Queen. I'm calling from Chicago, Illinois. Me and my fiance, Kwame Shabazz.
Yes. What's on your mind?
We just wanted to call in and just give our opinion on Sinners. We absolutely loved it. We don't believe that she was a mammy or anything like that. My only thing was the fact that they let in the mixed breed and the Asian descent, and that's when all hell broke loose.
Yep.
That was my only thing. Other than that, I love the way that he executed the movie. Well, we love the way that he executed the movie, how he portrayed all the different mystical beings into each folklore and all type of things like that. We absolutely loved it and have watched it several times.
Yeah. You say you watched it for time. I was like, I cannot. I might go. The reason why I'm putting my review off on Patreon until next week, because I might go twice. I know I'm going back once, but I might go back twice before I do my deeper review, because it's that good.
You're gonna have to see it several times, because we've seen it. It's a lot of Easter eggs and a lot of things that we missed that we didn't see the first time. And I swear, when you see him the second, third time, you're like, what the? Wait a minute, hold on.
I noticed that was Buddy Guy at the end.
Right, Buddy Guy at the end. Like
Shauna did.
Right, that's Shauna from Chicago, the rapper. That's her father.
Oh, I didn't know that was her father.
Yes.
Yes, Buddy Guy.
Yes.
I did not know Buddy Guy was her father.
Yes.
There you go. We from Chicago, baby.
And we love your show, bro. Big up.
We watch your show together.
And 5150. You know my girl can't stand Corey, but that's bro.
I saw Corey last night, man. I love my 5152. Shouts out to Corey.
We love your show. I tell my mom and everybody about you. Like, if y'all want to understand this music stuff, Dwann, I'm telling y'all, follow. I share you on my Facebook, everything. I tell my people about you all the time. Like, bro, this is who we need to be listening to.
And we got up on Dwann when we started talking about the bald head dude. Him and Corey was cracking jokes on. I forgot that man's name. Corey said that they don't like that. He wouldn't like him because he got hair. He wanted every time somebody get
Donnell.
No, not Donnell Rollins. It was the one that he speaks for everybody. He'd be like, "Yeah, we're gonna go here and do this for the family." The one he $1,500.
I know you talking about the congressman. Him.
Yes, that guy
Elijah,
always show up. With
the dude that died.
No, yeah.
I ain't talking about, he arrested John Lewis.
Yeah, John Lewis, but I'm talking about the other one, the dark-skinned one with the bald head that's everywhere now.
Yeah, him. I don't know.
The one for George Floyd.
You talking about the lawyer?
Yeah, lawyer buddy.
Oh yeah, you talk about Mighty Joe Young. What's his name? The lawyer. If all I know is if he gets this money for George Clinton, he's Ben Crump. He representing George Clinton right now. If he get this money for George Clinton, all is forgiven.
Man, when you and Corey roasted that dude, that was the funniest stuff I've seen that day. That was hilarious, that 51.
I swear to God,
that's when I said, oh man, Craig homie actually real interesting. Who was him?
Right.
That's when we thought, oh yeah, you fuck with him.
I appreciate that.
Then when you made your page, bro, and you put us up on that, what is it about the cards? You know, with I found out I'm a king of diamonds. And my girl is a 2 of diamond, and I don't know really what much they're taking, but it was funny as hell.
Yeah, I tell you one thing, it means y'all both handle business, and she's also somebody who understands you intricately from a way that angle that you ain't never seen before.
Word. And I agree.
And it is.
See?
All right, bro, look, we don't lay a hit up. Your page, not your page, but
we love your page. We love everything about you, bro.
I appreciate it. Thanks for giving us a call.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Like, yes, dude. I saw Corey last night. It was funny too when I talked to Corey last night. You know what was funny? Corey, this shit threw me off because Corey's like, D, I be checking your page out sometimes. He's like, shit. He said, man, you be saying some shit that's controversial. He said, you be saying controversial shit. I'm looking at Corey like, I say controversial shit? Man, Corey is the GOAT at saying controversial shit, and I don't know how that motherfucker do it. Call back. That was my bad answer in time. But I'm looking at Corey like, man, as controversial as you be, you say, I say controversial shit? And I do. That's an astute observation, but come on now. From Cole? What's up, Carter? What's his name? Where you calling from?
Dwann, what's up, man? This is Danny calling from Las Vegas.
Danny from Vegas. What's on your mind?
What's going on, man? Am I clear? Is it phone sound
clear? You good.
Okay, so 2 things about the movie. One thing that you made me think about, I didn't really pick up on before, was the higher lower nature thing with the red and the blue. And so, like, everybody talk about the other people that kind of activated the vampires, but it was dude's lower nature that really let them in.
Real talk.
Because the 2 brothers was in. It's just like any other kind of cipher or society that we have going, where it's already on lock. You could say Egypt. You could say, you know, things in the empires in North America or whatever. It was already under control before somebody was allowed in. So, like, they had the juke joint all secured and everything, but when he figured that the black money wasn't good enough, they had plantation money, and he was like, yo, go back out there. He sent her out there.
Yeah.
So he was in charge. He was the general. He was like, go back out there and check them people. So it was the lower nature brother and his idea that what the black folks had wasn't already enough that sent her out there, because she was still following his lead. And the other thing that I noticed too is, like, the Irish vampire dude, everybody that he got at, whether he was let into their house, building, or whether he met them outside, they had to have an exchange, a financial exchange first.
Yep.
So, like, even when the girl went out there, he didn't just bite her. He had to give her the little coins first. The same thing he did with the white lady at the house.
You may, like, to go along with that point you just said, it shows, I think this is what it shows us as a people. Yes, there's a system of white supremacy where they do get on code with each other. But along with that code always comes a financial exchange. White people aren't being white supremacists for free. And that's why I think black people don't understand when they want white folks to just get to feel good. Like, no, they're allowed to live in better neighborhoods. They get the better cut of jobs. You know what I mean? They're still bit by it too, because like I've always said on the channel before, and we see it right now with these tariffs, they're still getting screwed because these major corporations are taking enough for all of us to get paid 10 times what we get paid right now. But they'll take a few shekels to live on a better side of town, to get a slightly better job, to get a slightly better, easier way of life, slightly better, and they'll take that money exchange along with that code. And then since they have the 2 shekels to our none, or I mean, when they come across other white folks like they did when they walked in the house, they got 2 shekels to none. Then yeah, that's how they buy them in, and they get bigger. And then from there, they come around and pick us off individually. The black man, first off, bringing this into the home, and he knew. Remember when he met her the first time? He did not want to fuck with her, but he's been into it, sent her back out there, and then she's the one that went ahead and did that. So it really showed the interconnectedness to where you can't put the blame on one person. You got to see it from an organizational, societal, big picture level to see that all these components work together for this shit to happen.
Yeah. And everybody, all the infiltration came through compromise. So like as a collective, whenever the people compromise something and even taking that money, it's almost like a contract. It's like, here, you take these couple of coins, but that's what kind of sealed the deal every time, was like, you took something to get, that nothing that, the destruction that came on you came from you taking something. It didn't just come because you was just walking out there minding your business like that.
Right.
You opened the door.
That's a good point, man.
Yeah.
Hey, man. Thanks for giving us a call, my brother.
Absolutely. Thanks, man.
Yeah, man. Like, so it really just shows us all, man. We have to see that all these things work together. The system itself is really reinforced through shekels. Small amounts that are more than the average person has, but really nothing in the big scheme. These exchanges go along all the time, and it's just enough to buy people off to reinforce the system. What's up, caller? What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Dwann, what's up, man? What's going on, family? This is Curtis out of D.C.
Curtis out of D.C.
Hey, man, what's down with you? Hey, this is my second time seeing that. Man, that movie, man, I love everything about it. Hey, but one quick question I had. What do you think about the fact that, like, for the most part, they had to be honest, or they lied through omission? The vampires I'm speaking about. You know what I'm saying? Like, they didn't outright lie, but they, you know what I'm saying? They kind of,
yeah.
Like, they have some,
it's what we talk
you
about.
feel me? Like,
it's what we talk about on this channel all the time. Going back to the music history, when they say Africa, 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 which there is a hint of truth in that. But they omit Native Indigenous America, because then if you understood that music history, you'd understand your ties to this land, and you fight harder for reparations and things like that. So it all works together, like they do with American history. They'll talk about Nikola Tesla and Einstein. They're not even Americans, and won't mention George Washington Carver. You know what I mean? George Washington Carver was the smartest mind of the 20th century in America. They omit him. Right. They omit Booker T. Washington. They omit Frederick Douglass. They omit all the black people. All the black inventions are omitted, and they overtell the truth about Henry Ford. They overtell and create lies. They tell the truth, and these half truths about Henry Ford, these half truths about Bill Gates, and all these great white people, quote unquote, and they completely admit everything that we do in this country, even down to when they do have to admit we create things like jazz. They got to say it comes from somewhere else. That's an astute observation. That's how they lie to you. They lie to you by omitting. I'm gonna let you finish it off, but I'm gonna say one thing before I finish it off. I was in ChatGPT doing some research, right? And see, with things like ChatGPT and those of you who do AI, who use AI, you cannot depend on AI. You still got to have your own knowledge base. I asked ChatGPT to do some stuff. I was looking up some drummer. I wanted some more books on some drum history, and I was like looking up the history of tom, like the tom drums. And it's ChatGPT started with not Buddy Rich. It started with Gene Krupa, the white boy, great drummer by the way. Gene Krupa was a cold motherfucker, but ChatGPT started the history with Gene Krupa. I said, no, ChatGPT, before Gene Krupa, was Chick Webb before Chick Webb was Baby Dodds, and before Baby Dodds was Dee Dee Chandler. And I prompted it like, no, these three great drummers were doing these things before Dream Cooper. And since I knew that those drummers were doing these things before Gene Krupa, once I plugged it in ChatGPT, everything else I needed came right after that. It knew it the whole time. But I had to prompt it to say, no, motherfucker, you lying. This is what it is. So that's how they get down. But go ahead.
Indeed. Last thing I want to say was the first review I heard was from Tariq, and he was speaking on how the, vampires represented the liberal white supremacists. And it just reminded me of these politicians and how they don't outright lie to you, you know what I mean? Because it'll hurt their reputations, for what it's worth. But they'll definitely hold some stuff back or sneak something in the bill they wasn't upfront about. Anyway,
that's
all I got to say.
I didn't
man.
hear that point, but that's a good point. Yeah.
Yes, sir. All right. Yeah, appreciate you, man.
Let's get this call.
Right.
Yeah, they lie all the goddamn time. I was watching some shit, but they lie to omission all the time. I was reading something. I think it was a recent article on Jim Carrey. I don't know if it was in Vanity Fair. I don't know where it was, but it was in the last 2 months. And they were talking about Jim Carrey coming out of retirement and doing some movies or whatever. And they said Jim Carrey shot to fame after his debut film Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. On the surface level, no harm, no foul. But how did he get to Ace Ventura, Pet Detective? Through In Living Color. And the whole story on Ace Ventura, Pet Detective was originally offered to David Alan Grier. David Alan Grier turned that role down and gave it to Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey was a failed white comic. No disrespect to Jim Carrey, but white comedy clubs rejected that man in the 80s. All this stuff he was doing, they didn't fuck with him. It was and Jim Carrey himself, he always gives Keenen Ivory Wayans his credit. So Jim Carrey, he'll tell you about Keenen Ivory Wayans and In Living Color being his start. But when these more recent white publications come around, they don't even mention In Living Color. No Fire Marshal Bill, none of that. They lie through omission. They tell you the truth and act like that's the whole truth. All right. Well, we're going to have a deeper movie review. I'm going to watch this probably 2 more times. So we're going to do a deeper movie review on this probably Monday. Because on Patreon, and we're going to interview Lord Jamar. That's going to be over here on YouTube. I'll have some exclusive Patreon-only questions that we asked Lord Jamar. Patreon, you'll get a few exclusive questions, but the Lord Jamar interview will be up here on YouTube. And then we're going to interview Dr. Short on Patreon. Dr. Short's going to be exclusively on Patreon. That's going to be exclusively Patreon, Dr. Short. I can't afford for them to be, they didn't get my channel a strike. I don't want them fucking with my channel no more. So that'll be exclusively Patreon. And then we're going to interview Dr. Logan Westbrooks, author of the Harvard Report. And I'm surprised I don't have that book right here. Oh, it's in my room. It's in my other, I don't have it right here. But we're going to interview, and that's going to be on Patreon. Patreon's going to have, Patreon's going to have its own extended version of the interview. And the rest will be out here on YouTube, in these YouTube streets. Dr. Logan Westbrooks was the first black executive at Capitol Records. And he wrote these books, talking about the Harvard Report, the anatomy of the music industry, and the record company. This was the first black record executive at Capitol Records. And he understands what went on to destroy black music. A lot of my information and knowledge comes from listening to this man's interviews from afar and reading his books. That's where a lot of my information comes from directly. So I'm honored to be able to interview and talk to the source. So for those of you who want to really get into music history, you know, we over here on this channel, we breaking it all down. We breaking it all down. Because it's my mission. We got to know as a people, we're not crazy. Something happened to us. And acknowledging the fact that something happened to us, that what we had was stolen, that's not playing the victim. That's telling the truth. We as a people, and that's why I appreciate Ryan Coogler about this movie. It was an empowering movie. It's telling the truth about what goes on. Don't never let nobody tell you that telling the truth is playing victim. No, it's not. The truth is the truth. And there's no my truth, your truth. There's my opinion, your opinion, but the truth is what it is. And the truth is we have created these sounds in America. And the truth is there have been forces with a lot more money going back to sinners. People paid a few shekels to destroy the greatness and the wealth of our music. That happened. So again, for the people who get mad at me when I put artists of the 90s at a lower rank than artists of the 70s, not because I'm hating. It's because I know that by the time I get to the 90s, especially with rhythm and blues and the 2000s, that shit stepped on intentionally. It's not the production, the taking away the live instruments, down to who they decide, these record industries decide to promote, ain't been the best of our best. We haven't seen the best of the best since the 70s. So that's just a fact, no matter how nobody feels about it. So it's gonna be great having this interview and talking to the man who wrote the book about this information. You dig? We are here to teach and to have a little bit of fun and talk a little shit. You say it's the theater. Let me know. Check out the review then and let us know. Make sure y'all write. Make sure y'all write down and leave a comment after the video's over with. Let me know how you feel. Let me know what you thought about the review. Let me know your opinion on the movie. Please put that in the review in the comment section after we end. And make sure if you have not hit the like button, hit the like button now. All right? And then what we're going to do is I'm going to see y'all tomorrow. All right? Thank y'all again for listening. And part 2 will be on Patreon next week after I watch this movie 2 more times. All right? I'm about to sign off, but look at this comment. Fetty Wilson, he said, what artists in the 90s played every instrument on their album, wrote, sing, produced their songs? I'll wait. Right. Right. Prince, Stevie Wonder was the two who started it, was the only one still doing it at that time. But that's not because we as black people stopped producing greatness. It's because the record industry stopped signing and allowing the greatness, or they would sign the great ones, but not allow them to be a Prince, to be a Stevie Wonder, and not cultivate their sound. Not that they didn't have the talent sometimes, but even when you had the ones that did have the talent, the record industry killed that off. But we'll probably talk about that later on, all right? Thank y'all again for listening. We out.